If you're not making progress in your training, one of three things is true. That's it. Three possibilities. But once you know which one is yours, you know how to fix it. I'm Connor, I'm 33, I'm post-chemo, and I'm making my comeback into pro dunking. Tomorrow I'm gonna be starting my first real workout on camera since really trying to go back. And before I do any of that, I wanna really lay out the core philosophy of how and why I'm gonna do what I'm doing. And for you watching this, any PDF or program or training or app or whatever you're using, if it's not working for you, the reason why is gonna be in this video. So let's go over it. Every training program in existence is built on two key principles. People will give these principles different names. Some people call it the SAID principle, which is specific adaptations to impose demands. Some people call it stress recovery and adaptation, or SRA, and some people just call it stimulus response. All of those are really the same thing. You apply stress to your body, you recover from that stress, then your body changes and adapts to handle that stress better. And that is the mechanism. Every program, every training split, every workout, all the different periodization models is just a different way of manipulating the same two things: stress and recovery. So if you really want to know if your program is going to work for you, or in my case, work for me, you don't really need to understand the program as much as you need to understand these two variables. Let's break each one down. Stress for any movement that we're doing is broken into two parts: intensity and volume. Intensity just means how hard. It's the percentage of your maximum that you're operating or training at. For a lift, this would be how heavy it is compared to your 1 rep max. And for a sprint, this would be like how fast you're running compared to your maximum speed. For jumps, which I'll be dealing with a lot, it's how high you're jumping compared to your maximum jump. Volume, on the other hand, is how much. How many times you lifted the weight, how far you ran, how many jumps you did. That's all volume. So one of these is how hard, and one of these is how much. But a key thing that I've actually seen lots of clients and people I've trained with miss is that these things obviously do not exist in a vacuum. They have what's called an inverse relationship. All this means is that when one goes up, the other goes down, and vice versa. If I'm lifting the absolute heaviest weight that I can lift, I'm only going to be able to do 1 rep. So in other words, low volume. If I'm doing 20 reps and just blasting it out, I'll have to have a much lighter weight, so it will be high volume, but lower intensity. You can't max both at the same time, and if you do, you're very likely to get hurt. There's more to this, like exactly where on the intensity and volume curve you live depending on your goal, but the broad concept is what matters. You adjust intensity and volume to create the right amount of stress, and that's the lever. Now for the other side, recovery. I see a lot of people skip this, and I'm not talking about sitting in a sauna. When you stress your body during training, you're literally doing damage to your body, tearing tissues, depleting systems, and after that, it's the building it back up, or recovery, that actually leads to progress. So it's not just the workouts. The workouts are a signal for your body to improve, but recovery is actually where that adaptation happens. Recovery also breaks down into two main components: diet and sleep. Diet is basically anything that you put into your body: food, liquids, supplements, drugs, alcohol, anything that's going in. I like to use this very broad definition because whatever you're putting into your body affects the raw materials that your body has to work with to recover. Sleep is when the recovery really kicks into overdrive. Your body goes to work fixing everything that you broke. Not getting enough sleep by itself can literally plateau you or end you up in an injury, even if everything else is dialed in. So, stress gives you a signal, and recovery gives you the adaptation. If either one is off, you're not improving, which leads me to these three different possibilities. This is the entire framework. There are only three possibilities. That's it. 1, you have enough stress and enough recovery. In this case, you're going to make progress. So if this is you, keep going. 2, enough stress, not enough recovery. In this scenario, you'll stall, maybe you're declining. Eventually, if continued long enough, you'll end up injured. Your body cannot keep up with the damage that you create, and I think that this is more common than people think. This is the person who lifts every day of the week, never takes rest days, eats like crap, and sleeps 4 to 5 hours a night because they stay up late playing video games. Then we'll wonder, why aren't they progressing? Or why their knees always hurt, or why their shoulder bothers them. The problem is not the program, although it could be, but it's the recovery. The third is not enough stress and enough recovery. In this, you'll stay the same, possibly decline, but your body has no reason to adapt because the stress is not hard enough to ask it to do so. This is someone who goes to the gym, does the same weight every single time, jumps the same height or the same amount, does the same distance of sprints or the same amount of sprints or the same effort on sprints, and they've been doing it for 6 months and they wonder why nothing has changed. The problem isn't that they don't have enough recovery, but that their program either doesn't tell them to work hard enough or they themselves aren't tracking things and so end up not working harder and actually progressing. That's it. That's all 3. The reason that this matters is if you're not making progress, you can go and diagnose yourself right now. You probably already know the answer, but figure out which one of these 3 you are, and once you know, you can figure out what you need to change. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, I did everything right, and I still don't progress. So I want to acknowledge 3 factors that do have an impact. 1 is genetics. People who have better genetics will make more progress in less time with less effort than someone with worse ones. This is real, but it is not an excuse. It just means that your journey is going to be different than theirs. Stress and recovery still apply to you like anybody else. Genetics might decide the rate that you improve and the ceiling you can get to, but stress and recovery are really going to decide if you get near it. 2 is mentality. In my opinion, this is the biggest one I see make the biggest difference for people. If you enjoy the training you're doing, you will put in more effort. If you don't, you won't. If you believe that the system is going to work, it's much more likely to work, and you're way likelier to work hard at it because you believe in it. Belief and enjoyment directly impact the outcome. So people doing things that they don't really believe in or they don't really want to do get mediocre results. But there might have been nothing wrong with the program at all. 3 is specific training. And what I mean by this is that the exact movements and structure does matter. You're not going to go run a marathon and get a 50-inch vert. Some qualities do require specific stress patterns to get them higher and higher. But this is a little bit out of the scope of this video. So if you want to see that broken down in a future video, just let me know in the comments. Here's where this all gets interesting for me though. Tomorrow is the start of my own training cycle. Like it's 11:30 right now as I'm filming this video. And the whole point of how I had built the system in yesterday's video is to use these principles and put them on paper and prove them out while using AI to help me. So every day I'm going to track how I ate, how I slept, what my workouts were, and exactly what I did. All of this goes into the system. And then the AI, which I trained on this and much more that I've learned over the years, we'll use that as a reference to help me decipher what needs to be done next. So when progress stalls, because it inevitably will, the question really won't be, is the program bad? But it's going to be, do I have enough stress and enough recovery? And do I have the right type of stress to make the progress I want? Then I'll fix that and we'll see what happens. And you could totally do this by yourself without the AI and without the app. All you need is a plan and a way to track it. And I err on the side of keeping things very simple because if you're changing many factors at the same time, like lifts and weights and all these different things, it's hard to tell which factor was the one factor that made a difference. But that's the whole philosophy behind my training for now. So stress and recover, get both right, you improve, miss one and you stall or get hurt. Tomorrow is going to be my first actual workout on camera. It's going to be a jump day. So there's going to be a couple of dunks. They're probably going to be babies, but we'll get the baseline. We'll see where I'm at right now. And everything from tomorrow onward is going to be progress. So if you want to see that and also get the full workouts as I do them, because I'll be showing everything, subscribe, follow along, and let's get it.